Greetings, Commanders, and welcome back to the Complete Beginners series here in Elite Dangerous. It occurred to me as I ended the last episode that it might be a good idea to just kind of go through one of my standard gameplay loops, because I believe that it might give you a good idea of kind of how to navigate through all of this stuff on a daily basis. It's one thing to see things explained, it's another to watch an experienced person just kind of go through the motions after you've learned all of the stuff. So I will explain as I go the entire process of, say, what you would do if you were really trying to focus on bounty hunting. All of this kind of applies even if you're doing like transport or mining or things like that. But let's go ahead and I'll take you through a day in the life of my bounty hunting experience. I'll do one of each kind of mission, the space missions and the ground missions, so that you can see like the efficient way of going through all of that stuff. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to head into the Starport Services. We're going to go into the missions tab. And we're going to see if there are any easy combat missions for me to go do. This will help you. This will show you the process of finding things in the system and figuring out how to navigate yourself to it. I'm going to look for an assassination mission that ideally is within my ability. Here we go. Take down Pirate Costello. So we're going to take that. We're going to go ahead and accept that mission. And then I'm also going to go ahead and disembark and see if we can find ourselves a kill mission for a settlement, so you can see the process of, you know, going to a settlement, landing, actually doing a mission there, and then leaving. So let's go ahead and hop out of here. We'll go inside. We'll see if we can grab ourselves a nice little quick like assassination kill mission. Hopefully killing like a pirate or something like that. And then we'll go through, do both of those missions, and then you can see the entire process from start to finish. So the intent of this video is to kind of encapsulate everything that we've done so far. Not necessarily to go back through and demonstrate everything that we've done, but just so you can kind of see what it might look like after you've put a fair bit of time into, you know, practicing all of the systems and how to fly your ship and all of these things. Keep in mind, I have a highly engineered ship, and I have I have a lot of practice and skill in all of this stuff and moving around and everything. So, you know, don't be discouraged if what you're doing doesn't look like what I'm doing. So we're going to go ahead and take one of these missions here. One of the things I forgot to mention in the mission things is if it's orange like this, then it's a legal mission. If it's purple, it's going to be a pirate style mission, and you're probably going to get a bounty for doing it. We're going to go do this takedown mission here of Kill Nyla Good. It is a justice style mission. All we have to do is go in and kill the person. So we're going to go ahead and take that. That gives us 2 different missions to go do. And then, so yeah, I'm going to run back to my ship. We're going to take off, head off to one mission. We'll go do the space killing mission first, because that's a little bit easier. And then we'll go do the planetary landing one, where we go out and kill somebody. And then, yeah. Okay, let's go ahead and get back to our Cobra Mark V. This is my favorite bounty hunting ship. I do have a Corsair build that I did, and I believe it's available. I did a video on it, I think. It's more powerful, much more powerful, but I don't find it to be quite as fun. So as I said in the navigation video, you can go over to your transactions, you can find the mission that you're trying to go to, you click on it, you go click on the galaxy. Oh, I'm sorry, I went too fast for that. I want to explain some things. Make sure you go to the galaxy map icon here. It'll automatically target the system you need to go to. Hold the space bar down to select the system. You can press your galaxy map key to disengage it. Launch. Now I'm going to do some fancy flying because I'm impatient and I don't want to do a bunch of craziness. So what I end up doing is I vertical thrust just long enough to clear the platform. Landing gear immediately gets turned off and I boost away. I don't even wait. Because I'm trying to hurry up and get out of mass lock. So if you're coming in just now, make sure you go back and watch the tutorials. Now I can do my frame shift drive. I can boost to quickly turn. Boosting will turn your ship faster than just regular turning. So if you have to turn a long distance, you can just boost again, and your rate of turn will accelerate quite a lot. So we're going to jump to the next system. As I said in previous videos, what's basically happening right now is it's unloading the previous system, it's loading the next system, and we're just going to be dropped into it once it's finished loading. If it takes a long time, it's because it's taking a long time for the system to load, either because your computer is very slow at loading the system or because the server is struggling. So this mission makes it so that we pretty much need to, I'm going to, signal sources for when you're going to fight people in the system, signal sources are going to be what you're looking for. When you're doing these bounty hunting missions where you're looking for a specific person, most of the time you're going to have to go scan the nav beacon. Even if you've already scanned the nav beacon in this system before, if you have a new mission target in the system, you have to go back and scan the nav beacon again. As always, we're going to use the cool little Super Cruise Quick Drop Assist. I'm going to hold throttle until we get to 5 seconds of ETA. And because we're so close, it should just automatically yank me in and be done with it. So just like we did in the last episode, we're going to drop in. We're going to point ourselves towards the white square that shows up on our radar. We're going to target the nav beacon. So I'm immediately looking for it. I'm going to turn myself, target it, 0 throttle. We're going to wait for the scanning process to conclude. Not sure why that happened. I set my 0 throttle like immediately. All right. Anyways, we're going to wait for the scanning process to finish. That doesn't normally happen. I don't know why that did that. Okay. And then we're going to boost away full throttle so we can hurry up and get out of there, away from all of these things, because you can see we have some inhibition happening to our frame shift drive because there's just too many ships around. We're going to hop into Super Cruise.
4, 3, 2, 1, engage.
We're going to go over here and we're going to scroll down until we see a nice fat blue mark here. That's our target. Super Cruise assist towards it. Use the orientation ball. Put the big white circle in the middle. And then I'm just going to Super Cruise Overdrive all the way over there because my ship is capable of doing it at a highly efficient way. One of the things I forgot to mention in a previous episode is that the newer ships are much more efficient with their Super Cruise Overdrive. They're much more controllable, and they use a lot less fuel when they do it. So you can equip Super Cruise Overdrive capable drives on the older ships, but they're going to use up a lot of fuel doing it. So because we're still really far away, I'm going to push this down to about 2 seconds, I think. Turn it off, leave it at full throttle. We'll see what happens. I'm probably going to have to... When they're really far away, you almost always end up having to do this like twice. But now that we're pretty close, I should be able to activate it again. And this time I can wait until like 3 or 4 seconds, and then I think we'll probably be okay. So let's just go ahead and do that. 3 or 4 seconds. We'll leave it at full throttle. Sometimes you have to do it 3 times because you just misjudge it. It's hard to tell when you're really far away. You end up having to do it several times. So we'll go ahead and do it one more time. Alright, we're close enough now that I can just leave it at full throttle and it won't take us too much longer to get there. We're within 1,000 light seconds, so there's really no point. The little 10% of light speed rule only really applies when you're starting from a really low speed. If you're already approaching the target at a high speed, once you get within about 1,000 light seconds, you might as well just leave it at full throttle and just coast in the rest of the way. So now we're at 7 seconds. We're going to put 3/4 throttle to put us in a blue zone. The assist will automatically adjust the approach speed to keep us within a reasonable approach. And then as we approach, we'll keep an eye out for if we're going to run into a planet or anything. Sometimes they put these targets right next to planetary bodies, which makes it very difficult to quick drop. It looks like we might be having that problem now because I can see a dot right there, and it looks like that might be a moon or something. So while I would normally try to start my quick drop approach right now, I can't. I'm still not sure if there's a body there. It doesn't look like it now, but all right. So we'll go ahead and start doing our quick drop. I'm going to push the throttle up until we get to about 5 seconds. Put the Super Cruise Assist on, and then we wait till we drop out. Now, I haven't gone over any combat-related stuff. I'm not showing you combat-related stuff in order to teach you anything. I'm just trying to give you guys an overall sense of how doing missions and things like that might go. So this is what I typically do for my daily content for my channel. Let's see, I'm gonna turn my night vision on so I can see. We're gonna get our weapons out. Now, what I was saying about leading versus following, you can see that my weapon pips are off to the side there. If I switch it towards leading, it'll put a circle out in front of my target, and I'll have to aim my thing at the circle. I find that very difficult because when they turn, the circle moves around a lot, and I just find it easier to just drag my pips onto the guy. So we'll go ahead and do this fight real quick. I really like this loadout that I have because it shreds most everything that I fight. And this ship is so incredibly maneuverable that for the most part, almost none of the other ships can really do anything to me. Every once in a while, they'll figure out how to get pointed at me and they'll do some damage, but I'm generally able to. Let me get out from behind him here because I don't want any of that. They start getting a little bit of control, and then the battle starts turning, so I don't... Alright, there we go. That takes care of him. Alright, so the next thing we want to do is, like I said, I don't typically use the galaxy map to travel anywhere unless I'm using a bookmark, so I need to go do this one. We're going to do the same thing that we did. We're going to target the system using the space bar. We're going to put away our weapons, because you can't jump while your hard points are deployed. Charge our frame shift drive, boost to get ourselves pointed towards the jump that we need to do, and we're just going to wait for the jump to happen. And then, as I said before, this is basically just a loading screen so we can load into the next system.
4, 3, 2, 1, engage.
Now, obviously, if you're doing cargo, or you're doing courier missions, or you're doing mining, or any of that other stuff, this will not be the same loop that you do, but this gives you an idea of just kind of a basic iteration of loops that you would be doing to try to, advance yourself. So because we're doing an Odyssey-based mission, we need to pull up we need to switch from signal sources to settlements. For Odyssey-based missions, settlements will show up as your target option here. So we're going to go ahead and do that. Because it's a ground-based one, I'm not going to bother with the Super Cruise Assist, but I will Super Cruise Overdrive to get us over there. We're going to be looking for 52C. Turn it off. Now, because we were close to the star, the gravity of the star did kind of screw with our acceleration. So obviously, the 10% value I gave you only really works pretty well if you don't have any other gravitational things screwing with your drive. So, what am I doing? I accidentally pressed the increased throttle button. Sometimes I just have these like mental things where I accidentally press buttons, not thinking about it. All right, so like we did in the previous video, we're gonna go ahead and try to figure out the best approach to our target. You want as steep of an angle as possible without entering into that red zone. So it doesn't matter how long you do this. Sometimes you're just not going to get the right approach. It just is how it is. The best way to do it is to try to get to where you can kind of go around and then like manage your speed, be almost straight over them, and then go off to like either the right or the left or up or down or whatever is more comfortable for you, so that you can get that nice 45-degree angle. Like 45-degree angle down to like 50-ish is pretty solid. You'll learn to kind of visually see what you need to do to get it as you practice it. But the steeper your descent, the closer to wherever it is that you're trying to go, you'll drop out of your glide, is what I'm trying to get to. So we're going to slow down to make sure we don't overspeed. I'm going to go straight down with it off to my right a little bit to shallow out my angle a little bit. And then, there we go. And then, yeah, we're just going to slowly let the speed come down. 15, 14. Once we get to 10, I'll bump it up to 3/4. And then as we get really close, I'll bump it up to full throttle. And then I'll zero out my throttle so I don't forget to turn it off after the glide. We'll complete our glide at 52 degrees. It's pretty good. And then because I'm doing a bounty hunter assassination mission, I don't really want to land in the spot, because if I anger anybody by screwing the mission up somehow, I don't want my ship sitting right there in the middle of everything. So I'm just going to land. I'm going to put my landing gear down, and I'm just going to land over here to the side of the settlement. But if you're just doing a regular mission, you're just going to want to go ahead and land right there. But I'm only doing this out of safety for my own character here. And because I'm very familiar with this area, I'm pretty sure that my target's going to be on this other side, so I'm going to relocate right over here. All right. As I stated in my initial video, I am using a joystick and keyboard. My joystick is controlling my looking around for the ship, and the keyboard is controlling my ability to move the ship around. To get out, we're going to do like we did in the previous video and just disembark. And then, yeah, we're going to run forward. Now, I'm not really trying to give you guys a super crazy tutorial on ground missions, but I do want to give you kind of the basics. 1 is going you have 2 different, most of your suits are going to have 2 different weapons available to you. So 1 and 2 bring out your weapons. 3 will bring out your energy tool. The energy tool can be used to recharge your suit. It can also be used as a weapon. If you press the R key, it'll switch it into zap people mode. And if you get it really close, you can kill them with the zap. 4 is going to be your scanner. You can use the scanner to scan people to see if they have warrants on them. If you also press the R key, it'll switch it into steal their information mode, and you can steal their certification. What I typically do when I come into a settlement that I need to do something like this on, I will go and try to find one of those panels that we saw in the station, because most of these have them. So I will run around and try to find one of these panels here, because I can find personnel and station information. So you can find a staff list, facility information, and you can get missions from some of these settlements too. I am personally going to be looking for our target though. Nyla, it's in alphabetical order. So here's our target. I can click on that, and then I can escape, and then I can look off and see. As I expected, because I've come to this place to do missions a bunch of times. She's exactly in the building I thought she would be in. So a couple of other things to keep in mind. So you can see that this one has a number 2 next to their name. That's their security clearance. I'm actually going to try to steal their security clearance if I can get behind them and not have anybody looking at me. All right, so I'm going to press the R key. Try to steal their security clearance, cloning their profile. All right. The other tool you can use is this cutting tool that allows you to cut into things. I'm not going to do it now because I don't want to piss anybody off, but it fires a cutting beam that you're typically going to use to cut these panels off. And then that'll allow you to access certain things to open doors and things like that, but we're not really going to mess with that. You can see that there's a number next to the door. The reason why that's there, you need a level 1 security to get through this door. That guy had a level 2 security, so now I can get through anything level 1 and 2. Security clearances go all the way up to 3, so if you're going into some really secure areas, you're going to need to find somebody with a level 3 security. Sometimes you have to scan multiple people. You might have to scan a level 1 to find somebody with a level 2, and then scan the level 2 to get to somebody who has a level 3, and then you scan a level 3, and then you have access to everything. But for this mission, we're only here to kill somebody, so we're just going to walk straight in, pull out our gun, and bye. And that takes care of that. And that's it for that. So when you're done with whatever mission that you're doing, you just head back to your ship. If you're doing a legitimate mission where you don't have to worry about people getting mad at you, you'll just run over to the docking area over there. For me, I wanted to park outside just to make sure that I didn't have to worry too much about, you know, if I made people angry, they'd be shooting at me right now, and they'd be shooting at my ship. So I didn't want to expose my ship to the danger of that. That's why we parked out over here. So once you're done with all of your missions that you're going to be doing for whatever session that you're in, or you're just out of missions to do, you head back to your ship. The location of the mission changes as your mission status updates. So now when I go to these missions and I go to the galaxy map, it's going to take me back to the starting station, the starting system. So that is an extremely useful navigation tool to make it super easy for you to move around to the different things that you need to find. If you go to whatever mission you're trying to do, and if you go to whatever mission you're trying to do, click on the galaxy map icon. It will take you to wherever you need to go to do the next thing in the mission. If it's turning in your mission, it takes you back to the starting station where you can turn in your mission. I typically will boost out of the gravity well of a planet, and then I will activate my frameshift drive in the jump mode, the F key, to start the jump process to head to the next to wherever the system I need to go to. And then yeah, all we have to do now is just jump back to the original system, go land on the station, turn in our missions, and that will complete the beginner's guide to Elite Dangerous. Now obviously there's a bunch of other things that you can do. There's power play, there's trading, there's mining, there's exploration, there's a bunch of different things. But everything I've shown you in the series so far should equip you with enough information to be able to go learn those things and actually know what you're doing. So hopefully all of that was very helpful. Let's go ahead and get ourselves pointed at this guy. We're going to wait for about 3 seconds. As always, you can't do the quick drop on planets, but if you're going to a station or anything that's just out in space, you can usually do the quick drop method. Now you might miss, and then you end up having to do the loop of shame, which is basically turning yourself in a loop all the way back around to face your target. We have a term for that. It's the loop of shame. But if you wait and you do it and you execute it properly, you can minimize the amount of times that happens. I usually wait until about 20 light seconds, and then I just keep tapping the throttle forward until it hits 5 seconds and stays there. And then you just got to make sure that you manually keep this in the center as close as you can. The smaller your ship, the harder it is to do the quick drop. The bigger the ship, the easier. So I'm going to do my best to keep us kind of pointed straight at it. Requires a little bit of wiggling the stick. Full throttle, boost. Switch over to here to do our request for docking. And then I'm looking out for the lit up part. Looks like it's going to be right there. Half throttle. Landing gear. Numbers are over there, so I'm going to relocate.
Landing gear deployed.
And then down we go. Shift, forward, shift, forward, and that's it.
Successful.
Once you're done, I go ahead and restock everything, repair. We head over to the starport services. Now, the cool thing about the good thing about turning in your missions, you can turn in all of your missions from your ship. You don't have to go inside to turn in your on-foot missions. So like I said, when you're done with the mission, over here on the right side, you'll see completed missions and all of that stuff. You can click on that, and then you click on the mission. Excuse me. You can select which option you want. I don't really care about influence, and I can't take the titanium apparently, so I'm just going to take the money. For engineering, if you're really trying to stock up on engineering parts, a lot of the missions will offer you engineering parts. I haven't talked about engineering. Engineering is its own topic. It's not really a beginner topic, so I may do a video on it at another time. But I'm kind of done making videos, making tutorials for now, so that'll be later. But yeah, I'm going to go ahead and take that because I always try to take the engineering stuff when I can. Anyways, yeah, that's it for this video. Hopefully you guys had lots of fun. Be sure to click the like button, subscribe to help us reach 10,000 subscribers. Join as a member for early access to videos, among other perks, or you can just leave YouTube's version of a tip with that thanks button. I also have PayPal and Patreon links for those of you who prefer to go that route. So again, thanks for watching. Be sure to come back for our bounty hunting series, and I'll see you then.